Fighting games in their inherent nature are offensive spectacles. Each fighting game has their own approach to offensive capabilities and heavily emphasize these aspects with mechanics to incentivize players to constantly thinking about combos they want to do, which counter hits work, which selection of characters has the best synergies with each other, etc, because let's be honest, defense is just not as exciting to watch. Professional sports, even in their marketing and advertisements, choose to show threes, home runs, and touchdowns at higher frequencies over defensive plays like blocks, throwing someone out, and big hit tackles.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
But that does not make defense inessential by any means in fighting games. Defense, while not the focal point for most fighting games, serves as an absolute necessity to further characterize the game and help players manifest their own playstyles. Mechanics like parries, push blocks, combo breakers, bailout assists, DI, throw escapes were all made to make defense much more of an engaging task rather than sitting there and blocking the entire time. Some games go as far to make defense more of a risk than a comfort. In games like Soul Calibur and Smash, you have limitations of guarding yourself in order to incentivize players to utilize movement as a form of defense, along with more mechanics like parries added in Smash Ultimate and guard impacts in Soul Calibur to prevent situations where you are left wide open for big damage and even death.
Oh my god, and the shield break, is this gonna be it?
I don't think so.
Like some spike setup, or this might be a spike, okay, and that's gonna be it.
Guilty Gear even penalizes players who play keep away and block too long by taking away their meter, so the focus is drawn towards being offensive and aggressive. But for more traditional games, the way they tackle punishing excessive defense is through chip damage. Most of you know what chip damage is, but in case you don't, chip damage is when you take small amounts of damage while blocking from primarily special moves and supers, though some games do that with normal moves as well. And alongside this idea that excessive defense should have a risk to it, it further to the degree of chip kills, which from what I have seen on FGC Twitter is a divisive topic. On one hand, the side that favors chip kills argue that they are necessary in order to keep matches from getting boring, and so that people who defend all the time eventually are forced to be more aggressive, while also stating it is an absolute necessity because it teaches players not to be put in that life or death scenario anyway. On the other hand, the side that hates chip kills argue that it can be anticlimactic and make comeback situations annoying when all players have to do is just hit you until you die, no matter what. I can understand the first viewpoint of it being necessary when your opponent is just playing keep away or you want to prevent a BS comeback by chipping them out, especially in games with little to no mix-ups for the last hit. There's also a legitimate zoning tactic to use to frustrate and pin your opponent down. Or in team fighters, you just want to get rid of a certain character. But the title of the video should give away my stance on this, but I want to make a clear point that I am fine with chip damage. It's just that I hate chip kills with a murderous intent in every game it's in, except for one game that's a pure exception that I will mention later. As a spectator, it looks incredibly lame. I know I said this during my Injustice 3 wishlist video, but watching Aquaman poke you to death in grand finals is lame as fuck to watch. It's not engaging to see a player not being able to do anything about a move that hits you 30 times and being stuck in airness blockstone for so long. For the audience, it really just cheapens a lot of the excitement of watching a match once they understand that past a certain point, the end result is inevitable, especially for games that don't have a lot of defensive options. Street Fighter V comes to mind as well, because even though chip kills in this game are bearable because you need a full bar meter for supers, Street Fighter V's defensive mechanics are, mostly useless given the game's extreme emphasis on offense. As a player, even though I'm not a high level player, it does get frustrating to essentially have no options in the face of defeat, because no matter what you do, you're screwed. There is one game that I know of at least where even though I hate the idea of chip kills, it actually makes sense for these tense situations and incredibly exciting ends to matches, and also spawn the premier moment for fighting game history, and that is Third Strike. Here's me trying to block Chun-Li's super kicks. I died, right? Here's me trying to parry Chun-Li's super kicks. I am mega dead, right? Do you want to know why the Daigo parry is so amazing? I'll let Corey Gaming explain part of it. Gerald, I love you. Please do a music review with me.
There are a lot of reasons why it was such a big deal, but at the core of it, it was simply because it took a lot of skill. To parry a hit in Street Fighter 3, you have to tap forward within a 10-frame window or a 1/6 of a second to succeed. Otherwise, you get hit, which would have killed Daigo since he only had a pixel of health left. Since Chun-Li's super requires 15 parries in a specific pattern and tempo, Daigo had to time each one perfectly in order to survive.
If Daigo just sat there and blocked, he was a goner, much like I was. parrying in the situation was a massive risk and had such a high reward. Chip kill is actually a fair consequence in this game because you can parry anything in this game. It's just incredibly hard to do so. So in turn, players would aspire to understand how to parry simple sweeps and fireballs and eventually work their way up to parry multi-hit supers, which is incredibly hard but has an amazing reward to it. No other fighting game that I played with chip kills have that intuition or innate sense of promoting players to get better, and instead leads to just frustration and unsatisfying finishes. I brought this up earlier, but in my opinion, NRS games have the worst implementation of chip kills because not only can you die from fast normals, they also put in the ability to get killed by damage over time moves like orbs, noxious gas, fire, and other ailments that drain your life with minimal effort. It looks incredibly lame to watch and feels annoying as hell to play against. I know MK11 implemented Flawless Block, and as much as I don't like MK11's gameplay, I will give him credit for it, even though bullshit like this is still in the game. To me, chip kills are rendered redundant because of one commonality in fighting games. Now, what I'm about to say may be too complicated for normies and washed up veterans to understand. You're gonna have to be comfortable with knowing that everything you've learned in your lives is wrong.
Actually, Denzo, I am here to prove that there are certain scenarios under which the use of pre-transitive imaginary binomials might lead to the result described by Timmy Turner. 2 + 2 = 5.
You're gonna have to come to terms with the fact that the perspectives you're about to hear will perhaps be too much to visualize, idealize, and comprehend. Your mind will be pushed to the limit, and you may have side effects that include telekinetically lifting pizza slices with immense mental strain. Chip kills are redundant because there's a fucking timer. Every fighting game has a set timer, and yes, for most games you can adjust them to be infinite, but this video is tackling chip kills in a competitive setting. So as a player, you have a lot of weight on your shoulders when you're in a dangerous situation. Number 1, your health is low. You are in a position where any stray hit will kill, meaning you have to move and react accordingly to prevent defeat. Number 2, resource management. Alongside with your health, you have to keep an eye out for what resources you have available. 99% of fighting games, you have to build meter yourself, so if you want to make a comeback, you're also theorizing numerous ways to get in and get your damage or your setups as well, or which combo would be optimal given what you have. Number 3, there is a timer. Alongside constantly switching your focus between the action, the opponent's health bar, your health bar, your meter, and other mechanical accessories, you also have to worry about how much time you have left to pull off just a couple of the thousands of scenarios flashing before your very eyes to prevent getting timed out. Quick correction, I know I just said something insensitive when I mentioned getting timed out because of the ongoing atrocities going on right now in our world, like playing against Sonic and Smash Online.
Yeah.
Well,
I've actually never
A timer is implemented to make matches go by faster and pace out rounds as well as sets much more proficiently. So having chip kill completely invalidates the confines of a timer's purpose because it completely neuters all the factors that go into defense and comebacks. In these scenarios, your mind is racing a mile a second, and getting chip killed really just ruins all of that tension and that excitement. No, I don't want comebacks to be easy, but I don't want to see players get chipped out from full screen or get stuck in a block string with no options to escape whatsoever. There is one game that I am personally aware of that has no chip kill whatsoever, and that is Dragon Ball FighterZ. When I first played Dragon Ball FighterZ, I was absolutely floored to see that Cell's level 3 did not kill me when I was on my last sliver of health, because I was so used to it in other games. And for me, it was like playing good rollback netcode. Once you've played it, you can't go back. Sagem, I love you, please do your music review with me. What that meant was that because I wasn't afraid of being chipped out, it actually made me more excited and more incentivized to engage in the comeback because I understood how much time I had left and how the adds were stacked against me. My back was no longer against an abyss, it was against a wall, and it was much more manageable. The opposing player has two options, either time me out or work to get that last hit in. So with this dynamic in mind, both players now have a drive to do something. The interactivity still remains tense even in perilous situations. So when I do get defeated by a stray hit, I don't feel like my loss was cheap or unearned. It just means I have to get better and understand that while I'm in these scenarios, what I can do. That form and dynamic of interactivity is lost with chip kills, and that's why I personally think chip kills are stupid. And I hope in future fighting games that it never rears its head again.
oh shit. Chip damage kills! Oh shit!
Most likely will never happen, but hey, I can dream. What do you think of chip kills? Stupid? Necessary? Don't care. Leave your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I also review music on this channel and plan on making more video game content in the future. If you did not enjoy the video, leave a dislike, and I will see you later. Thank you for watching.